Hello my friends, in this video we're going to activate Windows Hyper-V that allows us to run virtual machines inside this host. Hyper-V is a hypervisor that comes free with Windows that just needs to be enabled. Note, you will need to enable virtual machine support in your BIOS. Look up your motherboard for instructions how to enable it. We will be installing Hyper-V on this machine and we will call this machine the host machine. Host machines, well, they host the virtual machines. First thing you're going to need to do is search for features. Next, you want to select turn Windows features on or off. Once you get to this window, select Hyper-V. That's it. Click OK. Windows will install everything that's needed. Then it'll ask for a reboot. Let's go ahead and restart now. After reboot, I'm going to search for Hyper-V. Select Hyper-V Manager. Hyper-V Manager is where you can create, manage all your virtual machines for this host machine. First thing we want to do is create a virtual switch. What's a virtual switch? A virtual switch is a way your virtual machine can get networking. By default, it creates a default switch. We're going to create a new one, so select New Virtual Network Switch. Then select External and select Create Virtual Switch. Name your virtual switch. I'm going to call this External. Next, leave all the defaults and click Apply. You'll get a pop-up window saying pending changes may disrupt your network. That's fine. Click Yes. Next, we're going to create our first virtual machine. A couple ways you can do this. You can select the New over here, Virtual Machine, or you can go on the left-hand side, right-click, and select New Virtual Machine. Next, it'll pop up the Virtual Machine wizard. Let's click Next. Next, it'll ask you to name the virtual machine. Since I'm installing Ubuntu for this demo, I'm just going to call it Ubuntu. Select Next. On the next window, I'm going to ask you to choose the generation. Generation 1 or Generation 2. For simplicity, I'm just going to select Generation 1 for this demo. Select Next. Next, it's going to ask you to assign memory. Since I'm doing a virtual machine with Ubuntu, I'm just going to select 2048, which is basically 2 GB of RAM. I uncheck Use Dynamic Memory. This is for expanding memory up and down. I don't want to get into that, but we'll just uncheck that for now and select Next. Next, it's going to ask you to configure networking. We're going to select the new virtual switch we just created earlier. I named it External, so you can select the name that you called it earlier. Click Next. Now we need to create a virtual hard disk. This is the disk that the virtual machine is going to use for the operating system. Since I'm installing Ubuntu, it's a very small footprint, I'm going to select a 32 gig hard drive dedicated for this virtual machine. Now we're going to need to select an ISO image that will be installing the operating system on this virtual machine. Select Install an Operating System, select Image File, and browse for the ISO that you want to install on this machine. As you can see, I have Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server, and Ubuntu. I'm going to select Ubuntu. These are just ISO files. Simply just like you burning them on a USB drive or put them on a CD drive and putting them into a brand new machine. That's what the ISO does. Click Next. Next, it'll give you a summary of everything we just created. Click Finish. Okay, we're almost there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the newly created virtual machine we just made and go to Settings to assign more processor. Since it's Ubuntu I'm installing, I'm only going to select 2 virtual processors. You can go higher if you need to, like for Windows 10, Windows Server. You could probably get away with 2, but you can assign 4. Just make sure your host supports it. Click Apply, then OK. Next step, just double click on your newly created virtual machine. It will bring up a pop-up window asking you to start the machine because it's turned off. Select Start. And here we go. Now we can install Ubuntu. This is coming from the ISO image we assigned earlier. For me, I'm just going to click Enter. And as you can see, it's installing the operating system for this virtual machine. The magic of video editing, I'll fast forward through all this. Okay, installation has been completed, and there you have it. I have a fully operational Ubuntu operating system running on my Windows machine using Hyper-V. You can use this to test different distros from Linux or Windows if you want to try out Windows 11 for the first time. It's a fun, free tool offered by Microsoft. Hope this video helped. Have a good one.